Hey there, welcome back to the channel. Have you ever felt like you just can't move on from the past? Maybe you're still holding on to someone or something that's holding you back, and no matter how hard you try, it feels impossible to let go. Well, today, we're diving into how to truly let go, not just to move on, but to free yourself from the emotional weight that's been holding you down. In this video, I'll show you how to shift your perspective and let go with gratitude, not resentment. You'll learn how to break free from the attachment that's been keeping you stuck, rebuild your identity, and step into a new version of yourself, one that doesn't need anyone else to feel complete. If you're ready to break the cycle and finally find the peace and freedom you've been looking for, keep watching. You won't want to miss this. Let's get started. Let's face it, letting go of someone isn't as simple as time passing by. It's not just a mantra to repeat or some distraction exercise. If it were, there wouldn't be people who, years after the fact, still find themselves replaying memories as if they just happened yesterday. The issue isn't necessarily with the person you're trying to let go of. The real challenge is what that person represents to you in your mind. The story you built around them. The promise that never came true. The version of yourself that still feels caught in that connection. The thing is, no matter how hard you try to ignore it, that person keeps lingering. But it's not love holding you there. It's your mind, still attached to an illusion. Carl Jung said it best. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. What does that mean? If you don't truly understand why you're still holding on, you'll keep repeating the same pain over and over again. Let me ask you something. Have you ever tried to forget someone, but no matter how much time passes, something inside you keeps pulling you back to them? No matter how many times you tell yourself, "I'm over this," there's still that part of you that can't let go. And here's the truth no one's told you. Attachment isn't love. What keeps you stuck isn't the person themselves. It's what that person represented in your mind. Imagine this. You're walking in a pitch-black room. It's completely empty, and you can't see a thing. You take a step, and suddenly, you trip on something. You feel the jolt, the frustration, the pain. But instead of stopping to see what you tripped on, you keep moving blindly, only to stumble over the same thing again and again. That's exactly what's happening to you right now. You keep bumping into the same pain, not because the person is irreplaceable, but because you haven't yet illuminated what they truly meant to you. Now, here's a question that might feel a little uncomfortable. What did you really lose when that person left? Think about it. Don't rush to answer. Most people would say, "I lost someone I loved." But the real answer? It's almost never that simple. If you feel empty without them, it's because they filled a space inside you that you never learned to fill on your own. If you feel insecure without them, it's because you were relying on their validation to feel good enough. If you feel like life lost its meaning without them, it's because they were the one thing that made you feel alive. But here's the kicker. None of that is love. It's emotional dependence. And until you recognize it, you'll stay tied not just to this person, but to anyone who offers you the same illusion. The issue has never been them. It's that you haven't learned to do for yourself what you've been waiting for others to do for you. Here's where it gets real. If, as a child, you never felt truly loved, your attachment isn't to the person. It's to the feeling of being seen. If you always felt like you weren't enough, your attachment is to the search for someone who'll make you feel valuable. If loneliness has been a constant in your life, your attachment is to the fear of being alone with yourself. The worst part? Even if that person comes back, none of that will go away. What you're really searching for isn't in them, it's in you. This is where many people miss the point. They think attachment can be solved with distractions, with time, or by finding someone new. But what they're actually doing is running away from themselves. And if you keep running, this won't end. You'll change relationships, change cities, change everything, but you'll remain stuck in the same cycle. And here's where I'm going to tell you the truth, no sugarcoating. I'm not here to make things sound easy. I'm here to tell you what you need to hear, even if it stings. The pain of truth is short-lived, but the pain of lies can last a lifetime. So, if you truly want to let go, stop looking outward and start looking inward. Ask yourself, what void am I trying to fill with this person? If you can't answer that, then the issue isn't your attachment. The issue is that you haven't yet learned who you truly are. And until you face that shadow, you'll keep tripping in the same dark room. But here's the most dangerous part. Attachment isn't just a trap of the unconscious. It's a distortion of reality. Because you're not only holding on to what that person meant to you, you're clinging to a lie that your mind has created. Breaking the illusion. How to let go without the pain. All right, let's dive into something important. Until you destroy the lie your mind is holding on to, you'll stay trapped in a memory that never really existed. And I'm going to explain exactly why your brain is tricking you and how you can break this illusion once and for all. First things first, stop idealizing that person. Now, this is going to hurt a bit, but stick with me. It's the only way to truly understand what's going on in your mind. The truth is, you're not missing that person. You're missing the lie your mind created about who they were. It's that simple. Think about it. If you truly missed them for who they really were, you'd remember everything, good and bad. But that's not what happens, is it? Your brain plays tricks on you. It erases the tough moments, the fights, the hurtful words. Instead, it clings to the good stuff, the moments when you felt loved, when things seemed to make sense. And here's the harsh truth. Your brain needs to keep that story alive. Let me explain this with something you've probably experienced before. Have you ever wanted to buy a specific car or outfit, and then suddenly, you see it everywhere? It's not that those things magically appeared, right? It's because your mind is now focused on them, so it starts to notice them everywhere. The same thing happens with that person. Your brain is conditioned to focus only on the things that reinforce the idea you have about them. If you believe they were the one, you'll remember all the moments that prove that. If you think they were the only person who understood you, your brain will block out all the times they ignored you. If you think you'll never find someone like them again, your brain will keep feeding you that belief with every comparison you make. It's a trap. It's an illusion created by your unconscious mind. And if you don't realize this, you'll stay stuck in a love that never really existed the way you remember it. Here's a tough question for you. If someone treated you the way that person did in the past, if they spoke to you with the same coldness, if they made you feel the same insecurity, would you still want to be with them? If the answer is no, then why are you still suffering over their memory? I'll tell you why. You're not remembering the real person. You're remembering the version of them you created in your mind. You're remembering what you wanted to see, what you hoped they would be, not who they actually were. And here's where it gets even harder. The more you idealize someone, the smaller you become. When you put them on a pedestal, you automatically place yourself below them. And without realizing it, you start to believe you'll never find someone like that again. The truth is, you never will. Because that person didn't actually exist the way you thought. They were an illusion. They were a projection of your own desires and needs. Carl Jung put this perfectly. We don't see people as they are, we see them as we are. What that means is, what you loved wasn't really the person, it was what you projected onto them. If you felt loved by them, it was because, in their reflection, you saw the love you were craving. If you felt secure, it was because they gave you the stability you hadn't built for yourself. If you felt important, it was because, for the first time, someone validated what you never learned to value in yourself. But here's the kicker. When that person left, all of that disappeared. Why? Because it never came from them. It was always within you. They were just a mirror. And now that mirror is broken, and you're forced to see yourself without any filters. That's terrifying. It means you have to become everything you were looking for outside of yourself. Here's the hard truth. Attachment doesn't dissolve with distractions, time, or finding someone new. It only ends when you face the truth. And the truth is, that person was never what you imagined. If they were, you wouldn't be suffering right now. You wouldn't be here. So, it's time to stop idealizing them. Letting go starts when you decide to see reality without the rose-colored glasses. Don't just remember the good parts. Remember everything. And when you do, ask yourself this final question. Do I really want to keep suffering over someone who was never what I thought? If you can answer that honestly, then you've taken a real step toward freedom. Now, here's the real question. If idealizing someone only keeps you trapped, why do we keep doing it? Why, even when we know the truth, do we still feel the void when they're gone? Here's the answer. Your pain isn't about the loss. It's about the resistance. You're resisting letting go of something that no longer exists. And that's what's really destroying you. Let me show you how to release without letting the pain consume you. When you get this, attachment won't have power over you anymore. Step 3. Understand that pain doesn't come from the loss. It comes from the resistance. Quick pause. If this message is hitting home, make sure to subscribe right now. Our community is growing fast, over 20,000 strong, but I see that more than 90% of you who watch aren't subscribed yet. If you've been thinking about subscribing but keep forgetting, now's your chance. It's free, it helps me out a lot, and you won't miss anything that's coming up. Stick around until the end, because I'm going to ask you to comment with a powerful affirmation that could change everything. Now let's dive into this last point. The pain you're feeling isn't because someone left, it's because you don't want to accept that they're gone. The real pain doesn't come from the loss. It comes from resisting the truth of it. Letting go, how to break free from the past. Let's talk about something that affects a lot of us. The internal battle we face when trying to accept the end of a relationship. It's not the absence of that person that eats away at you. It's your inability to accept that they're no longer a part of your life. Deep down, you're still waiting for something to change. You're waiting for that text, for them to regret their decision, for some magical twist of fate to bring them back. And in that waiting, you're slowly destroying yourself. Let me explain this to you with a simple image. Picture yourself holding onto a rope with all your strength. On the other side, someone's pulling with just as much force. You pull and pull, desperately trying to keep them close. You feel the strain in your hands, your muscles burning, your body getting exhausted. But then, one day, that person lets go of the rope. Yet you're still holding on. Your hands are still clenched, your arms still tense, and your mind is still stuck in that struggle. Even though they're no longer there, you're still fighting a battle that's already over. And that's where the real pain comes from. The pain isn't in the loss itself, it's in your resistance to letting go. The relationship ended. The story changed. That person moved on. But you're still clinging to a fight that's already finished. The reason you're still suffering is because you're not accepting that it's truly over. I get it. Acceptance is tough. To accept means you're facing reality without any filters. It means letting go of the hope that things will go back to how they once were. And for many, that's scarier than the pain itself. But hear me on this. Denying the reality won't make it change. If that person is gone, then they're gone. If they left, if they replaced you, if they walked away with no explanation, that's what happened. The more you resist accepting it, the longer you'll stay stuck in a pain that only exists in your mind. Here's the truth. It's not life punishing you. It's not fate causing your suffering. It's not the other person holding power over you. It's you still gripping onto something that no longer exists. Look around you. The world keeps turning. The days pass. Seasons change. Time moves forward. The only one still stuck in the same place is you. So ask yourself, how much longer are you going to fight reality? Because life won't wait for you to catch up. Life moves on. So, the real question is, are you going to keep holding onto that rope until it destroys you? Or will you let go and set yourself free once and for all? When you truly get this, attachment will lose its hold over you. You'll see it for what it really is, a story you've been telling yourself about that person, not the person themselves. But even if you understand this intellectually, you might still feel like something is pulling you backward. And you know why? Because your mind is wired to cling. You're surrounded by invisible anchors that are pulling you back into the past. And as long as those anchors are there, you'll keep falling into the same patterns. Let me tell you what those anchors are, and more importantly, how to remove them for good. Step 4. Eliminate the emotional anchors. This is where most people get stuck, not because they don't want to let go, but because they're still surrounded by memories that pull them back. Think about it. When someone is recovering from an addiction, the first thing they're told is to change their environment. They can't keep hanging out in the same places, with the same people, or sticking to the same habits. Why? Because everything around them is an anchor, pulling them right back into the addiction. Attachment works exactly the same way. You keep returning to thoughts of that person, not because you want to, but because your environment is constantly reminding you of them. That text thread you haven't deleted. That picture you still sneak a peek at. That song you listen to, hoping it'll take you back to the good times. That place you keep going to, thinking you'll bump into them. These are anchors, chains that tie you to a memory, and they keep you from moving forward. Here's a visual for you. Imagine you're trying to cross a river with a backpack full of rocks. You're determined to make it to the other side, but every step you take feels harder and heavier. With each move, the weight of the rocks wears you down. Eventually, you collapse, not because the river is too deep, but because you never let go of the weight that's dragging you down. That's what it's like when you try to move on, but keep holding on to the things that tie you to the past. If you really want to break free, you've got to release those anchors, and you need to do it now. Here's the cold, hard truth. As long as you keep letting your past remain in your present, you won't be able to move forward. If you're still checking their social media, you're setting yourself up to fall back into old patterns. If you're still holding onto their photos, you're giving yourself reasons to miss them. If you're maintaining contact, just as friends, you're feeding a wound that will never heal. So why do you keep doing this to yourself? If you truly want to move on, you have to make a choice. And that choice is to cut all ties to what's keeping you anchored. Block them if needed. Delete the photos if they still hurt. Stop visiting the places that drag you back into the past. Do whatever it takes to close the door on that chapter for good. Because here's the thing. If you leave the door even slightly ajar, sooner or later, you're going to walk right back through it. Breaking free from the past, letting go, and rewriting your story. Let's get real about something that we all struggle with, truly letting go. If you want to be free, you've got to close the chapter completely. No half measures. No maybe someday. No waiting for the perfect moment. Because, trust me, that moment is never going to come. The longer you delay cutting ties, the longer you'll stay stuck in your suffering. So, I have to ask you, are you going to keep holding on to the anchors that are dragging you down, or are you going to break free from them once and for all? Because once you make that decision, the past will lose all of its power over you. Now, if you're still feeling that pull towards someone who no longer makes sense in your life, someone who you know you should let go of, there's still something inside you that hurts. That feeling of emptiness keeps coming back, and no matter how hard you try, you can't seem to fill it. And here's the truth. The problem isn't the person, the memories, or the attachments. The real issue is that you haven't fully understood who you are without that person in your life. Until you rebuild your sense of self, you'll keep looking for something outside of yourself that can only come from within. Step 5. Take away the special meaning you gave them. Here's where the real truth lies. You're still trapped, but not because of the person themselves. It's because of what they represented to you. You're still holding on because, in your mind, that person had special meaning. They were irreplaceable, unique, someone who could never be replaced by anyone else. But let me ask you this. Was that meaning really something they gave you, or was it something you created? Let's be real here. Nobody is special until you decide they are. It's your mind that placed them on a pedestal, that turned them into a symbol, into something unique. But if you were the one who gave them that significance, then why can't you take it away? Let me paint a picture for you. Imagine walking down the street. There are hundreds of strangers around you, people you'll never see again. You don't think about them. You don't remember them. You don't miss them. Why? Because you didn't give them any special meaning. But if, one day, one of those strangers starts listening to you, validating you, making you feel seen, suddenly, they become important. And the more you tie your happiness to them, the more special they become in your mind. Not because they truly are, but because you decided they were. Here's the thing. I'm not here to sugarcoat things. I'm here to tell you what others won't say. And the truth is, love isn't what bonds us to someone. It's the meaning we assign to that love that binds us. If you believe that person was the love of your life, you'll never let go. If you think nobody else will understand you like they did, you'll shut yourself off from new connections. If you think what you built together was one of a kind, you'll always look back with longing. But here's the game changer. What if all of that meaning you gave them was wrong? What if they weren't the love of your life? What if they weren't unique, but just someone who happened to come into your life at the right time? What if the significance you attached to them wasn't a truth, but just a story your mind created? If you dare to question that story, something inside of you will shift. You'll realize that the person you idealized was never as special as you thought. Because what truly connected you wasn't love, it was need. The need to feel loved. The need for validation. The need to believe you had found something you'd never had before. But if all of that came from you, then why do you still believe it depended on that person? How to break the illusion. If you want to truly let go, you have to break the meaning you built around that person. And to do that, you need to do something that very few people have the courage to do. Rewrite the story. Your mind has been playing the same narrative over and over again. The right person, nobody else will make you feel the same. You lost something irreplaceable. But now, I want you to change that narrative. Because the truth is, they weren't the right person. They were just the person who reflected what you needed at the time. You didn't lose something irreplaceable. You lost an experience that has already served its purpose. They weren't unique. They were just someone you crossed paths with. Now, close your eyes and say it with me. It wasn't meant to be. Challenge every thought that tells you to idealize them. Remember the flaws you ignored. Recall the moments they hurt you. Think about all the times they didn't live up to your expectations. Tear down the pedestal. When you do that, you'll see that the person you put on a pedestal wasn't special. You were the one who made them special. And if you gave them that power, you can take it back. Step 6. Break the narrative that ties you down. Now, here's the hardest part. Even if you understand this intellectually, there's still something inside you that resists. You still feel the need to go back, to find answers, to justify what happened. Why? Because you keep repeating the same story. You've been telling yourself a narrative that ties you down, a script that forces you to suffer. And until you break that story, you'll stay stuck in the past. Let me ask you something. What if someone told you every day, "You'll never get over this. You lost the best thing that ever happened to you. No one will ever love you the same way"? If someone constantly fed you those words, how would you feel? Destroyed, right? Convinced that it was true? Now, think about this. Why do you say those things to yourself? Every time you think, "I can't live without that person," or "I'll never find someone like them," you're repeating a narrative that keeps you stuck. Breaking free from the past. How to let go and heal. Let's talk about something real, letting go. We often tell ourselves we'll never get over something, that we'll never move on. But here's the thing. It's not reality that keeps us stuck. It's the story we tell ourselves about that reality. The biggest lie we keep repeating is the narrative running in our heads. So, how do you break the cycle of that story that's holding you hostage? If you truly want to let go, you need to change the story. Because when the story changes, the way you experience it changes too. And to do that, you've got to start with 3 steps. Step 1. Identify the story you've been telling yourself. Get real with yourself. Write down all the things you've been repeating since that person left. Be brutally honest. Maybe it's something like, "I'll never get over this," or "They were the perfect person for me," or "I'll never love anyone else." Write it down, read it, and then realize those are just words. They're not the truth. They're just ideas that you decided to believe. Step 2. Break the story with logic. Now, for each of those statements, ask yourself, is it true, or is it just how you feel in the moment? Let's take, "I'll never get over this." Is that a permanent truth, or just something that feels real right now? Or how about, "They were the perfect person for me"? If they were, why didn't it work? And what about, "I'll never love anyone else"? Is that really true, or are you just afraid to open up again? Question each of these thoughts. Tear apart each belief. And here's what you'll realize. None of it is absolute. None of it is set in stone. All of it is changeable. Step 3. Create a new narrative. This is where the magic happens. If your story up until now has been, "I can't handle this pain," flip it around to, "I'm healing, and every day I'm getting stronger." If you've been telling yourself, "I'll never feel that way again," try saying, "I'm open to experiencing love in a new, healthier way." And if you've been stuck on the idea that you lost something irreplaceable, change it to, "I learned what I needed to learn, and now I'm ready for something even better." Here's the truth. You decide the story you tell yourself. You decide if you stay trapped in a narrative of suffering, or if you shift to believing that what you're feeling isn't the end, but a part of your journey. The emptiness you feel isn't because you lost someone. It's because that emptiness existed even before they came along. They just covered it up. They distracted you from it. Now that they're gone, everything you've been avoiding facing is coming up to the surface. The truth is, it's not the end of a relationship that hurts. It's the feeling of being alone with yourself. Until you face that void, you'll keep searching for someone else to fill it. Step 4. Face the void without distractions. Here's where most people get stuck. Not because they don't want to let go, but because they're terrified of being alone. When that person leaves, the first thing you feel isn't just their absence. It's this massive void you don't know how to fill. And that's the real problem. It's not the relationship ending that destroys you. It's the fear of having to face yourself without distractions. If you don't understand this, you'll make the biggest mistake of all, trying to fill that void with anything you can find. The fear of loneliness is what drives most people to rush into new relationships, or try to numb the pain with distractions, whether it's partying, shopping, traveling, or scrolling through social media. Anything to avoid the uncomfortable feeling. But here's the thing, none of that works. No matter how much you try to distract yourself, no matter how much you try to fill the void with someone or something else, that emptiness will still be there. And eventually, it'll catch up with you. It could be when the noise dies down and you're left alone with your thoughts. It could be when you see a couple holding hands and the pain comes rushing back. It might hit you when you're talking to someone else and your mind is still stuck in the past. The truth is, it's not that person you miss. It's the numbness they gave you. Before they came into your life, that void was already there. You just didn't feel it because the love, the validation, the company kept it at bay. But now that it's all gone, the emptiness has woken up. And here's the hard truth. Instead of facing it, you've been running from it. Step 5. How to face and heal the void. If you truly want to let go, you need to stop searching for distractions. Sit with your pain. Do the opposite of what you've always done. Instead of avoiding it, observe it. Because that void isn't there to destroy you. It's there to show you what you've always ignored. If you feel lost without that person, it's because you never built an identity of your own. If you feel like your life lost meaning, it's because your life was already empty before you met them. If you don't know how to be alone, it's because you've always depended on someone else to feel whole. This is the moment to ask yourself, who am I without that person? What do I want in life that doesn't depend on anyone else? What emotional gaps do I need to heal within myself? What you need to understand is this. If you keep looking for a quick fix, if you keep running away from the emptiness with distractions, short relationships, or temporary fixes, you'll just repeat this pain over and over. The pattern doesn't break with time. It breaks when you face yourself without fear. Because the moment you learn to be alone, the moment you stop needing someone else to validate you, attachment will lose all of its power over you. That's when you'll truly be free. Rebuilding yourself after loss. How to find your identity again. Let's dive into something many of us struggle with after losing someone important. It's the feeling that a part of you is missing, or that you've somehow lost yourself in the process. If you're feeling stuck, like you can't move forward, it's because you've been living with someone else at the center of your identity. And until you rebuild who you are from within, you'll keep looking for validation and fulfillment from the outside. Here's the truth. The problem has never been about the other person. It's about you losing touch with yourself. Think back to when you were in that relationship. Everything made sense, right? Your day revolved around that person. The texts, the calls, the plans. Even when they weren't physically there, they were always on your mind. And then, one day, they were gone. And suddenly, the routine stopped. The sense of security you once had disappeared, and you're left with a huge void. You're not sure who you are anymore, and you don't know how to fill the time or the love that used to be directed at them. But here's the kicker. This isn't about losing that person. It's about losing the identity you built around them. Without realizing it, you built your sense of self on someone else. And now that they're gone, it feels like a part of you disappeared with them. When love becomes your identity. Here's the real problem we're facing. From a young age, we're told that love is the most important thing. We're taught that finding the right person is the purpose of life, that love is everything. And before we know it, we've internalized this belief. Our identity becomes tied to being with someone. So when that person leaves, it feels like we stop existing, like a part of us just fades away. But I have to ask, do you really want to keep living like this? Do you really want to depend on someone else to feel complete? Because here's the truth. If you don't start building your identity from within, you'll always need someone else to make you feel valuable. And when that person leaves, you'll be left with nothing but ruins. How to reclaim your identity after loss. If you want to truly let go and move on, the first step is rebuilding yourself. You have to start with something simple but powerful. Stop defining yourself based on others. Ask yourself, who am I when I'm not in a relationship? What am I passionate about outside of love? What do I want in life that doesn't depend on anyone else? Most importantly, ask yourself, how can I make myself my own priority? If you don't learn to be the center of your own life, you'll always be orbiting around someone else. And when they leave, you'll find yourself right back in the same empty space. Start by making small changes. Shift up your routine. Try new things. Discover hobbies or passions you had neglected. Surround yourself with people who nourish you. not distract you. And most importantly, learn to be comfortable with your own company. Because the real process of letting go isn't about stopping love for someone else. It's about falling back in love with yourself. When you reach that point, nobody else will have the power to break you. You'll have taken an enormous step toward healing. But there's still one more challenge. The trap of waiting for the right moment. Even after you've started rebuilding, there's one trap that might still keep you stuck. It's this, waiting for the right moment to fully let go. You might think that one day, you'll just wake up and feel ready, like the pain will magically disappear and letting go will be easy. But here's the truth, that moment never comes. Waiting to feel ready to let go is a trap. Let me break it down for you. How many times have you told yourself you'd do something once you felt ready? I'll start working out when I have more energy. I'll stop texting them when I don't care anymore. I'll block them when it doesn't hurt so much. But here's the thing, you never feel completely ready, right? The reality is, you're never going to feel totally prepared to take that step. The fear doesn't go away first. The nostalgia doesn't vanish before you act. The wound doesn't heal before you make the decision. It's the opposite. First, you make the decision, and then the pain starts to fade. So stop waiting. Every day you stay attached to the past, you're feeding the attachment. You're opening yourself up to more hurt. The longer you wait to take action, the harder it becomes. Take the leap, even when it's hard. Here's the deal. You have to take that first step, even when you're not sure you're ready. Because the moment you stop waiting to feel ready is the moment you begin to truly heal. It's not about waiting for the perfect time. It's about acting now, even in the discomfort, and letting the process unfold. Because once you make that choice to let go, you'll realize that the pain and emptiness you feel weren't about the person. They were about the space you needed to fill with your own love, with your own sense of self. And when you do this, you'll be free. Free from waiting for the right moment. Free from relying on others to complete you. Free from the story that's been holding you hostage. And that's when true healing begins. How to let go with gratitude, not resentment. You've probably been caught in this loop, constantly asking the same questions, waiting for something outside of you to make the pain go away. But here's the hard truth. Letting go isn't something that just happens. Letting go is a choice. It's not about waiting until you feel ready or when the pain fades away. It's about choosing to let go now, even if you don't feel prepared. So, how do you take that step, even when you're not sure you're ready? You do it by deciding to cut the cycle. Don't wait for the perfect moment. If you need to delete, delete. If you need to block, block. If you need to change your surroundings, then do it. Don't overthink it. Just act. Now, don't expect instant relief. Letting go isn't going to feel good right away. It's going to hurt, but every action you take toward your freedom will make you stronger. You won't feel better immediately, but trust that with every step, the pain will lose its grip on you. Trust the process. In the beginning, yes, you'll feel anxiety, nostalgia, fear. That's natural. Your mind is resisting change, trying to hold on to the familiar. But here's the silver lining. The brain is adaptable. If you train it to let go, it will. And that's the key. Letting go isn't passive. It's a decision. So, the real question is, are you going to keep waiting for the day when it feels easy to let go? Or are you going to make the decision, even though it still hurts? Because once you decide, the pain will start to lose its power. You've already taken the first step. You've decided you can't just wait for time to do the work for you. But here's where most people get stuck. Even after they've physically let go of someone, they're still holding on to the past emotionally. They still carry resentment, still think about what they've lost, still hold on to the anger of what happened. The trap of resentment. Here's the thing. Holding on to resentment keeps you trapped. You might think you've let go because you've moved on physically, but if you're still wishing bad things on that person, still waking up thinking about what they did, then you're not really free. Resentment is an invisible chain that makes you believe you've moved on, but in reality, you're still stuck. You keep replaying the same memories, waiting for some kind of cosmic justice to come their way. But let me ask you, how much longer are you going to let the past control your present? Letting go without resentment. Look at how far you've come. You've grown, you've learned, and you've discovered parts of yourself you never knew existed. You've developed strength you never thought you had. And whether you like it or not, all of that came from that painful experience. Not because that person was great, not because they treated you well, not because they deserved your gratitude, but because without that pain, you wouldn't have awakened. Without that disappointment, you'd still be the same person you were before. Without that breakup, you wouldn't have had the chance to rebuild yourself. So, why keep hating the experience that made you stronger? It's not about justifying what happened or excusing their behavior. It's about recognizing that that pain led you to a new version of yourself. You wouldn't be where you are now if it weren't for the lessons that came from it. And here's the truth. Letting go with gratitude doesn't mean you're saying what happened was okay. It just means you're thankful for the lessons it brought into your life, the growth, and the opportunity to become someone stronger. It's about releasing the bitterness and choosing to embrace the lessons, not the pain. When you shift your mindset from resentment to gratitude, you truly free yourself. The past no longer holds power over you. The memories no longer control your emotions. You get to decide how that chapter ends, and in doing so, you reclaim your power. Letting go with gratitude, how to break free from the past. So, let's get one thing clear. Letting go doesn't mean minimizing the pain. It's not about justifying what happened or pretending it didn't matter. It's about understanding that holding on to resentment only hurts you. The key here is shifting your perspective. You didn't lose someone. You found yourself. It wasn't a mistake. It was a lesson. It wasn't the end of something good. It was the start of something better. And when you begin to view your past this way, the story no longer holds power over you. The pain stops feeling like a burden. The memories stop stinging, and for the first time in a long time, you feel free. I'm going to tell you how to let go with gratitude, because that's the only way you'll truly heal. Step 1. Change the narrative. Stop telling yourself that you lost something. Start telling yourself that you learned something. As long as you view the past as a tragedy, you'll stay stuck in it. But when you see it as a chapter that needed to close, that's when you can finally move forward. It's all about reframing the story. You didn't lose, you grew. Step 2. Be grateful for the experience, but keep moving forward. You can be thankful for what you went through without wishing it back. You can appreciate the lessons you learned without wanting to repeat them. You can close the chapter without holding on to resentment. Gratitude doesn't mean you want that person back. It means you've let go of the pain they caused you, and you've stopped needing to carry it with you. Step 3. Break the cycle once and for all. Take a deep breath and stop holding on to what could have been. Let go of the what-ifs. Stop wondering what would have happened if things had turned out differently. Stop waiting for the universe to make that person pay for what they did to you. None of that serves you. None of it helps you move forward. The only thing that matters now is what you do with your life moving forward. Because here's the deal. If you keep looking back, you'll keep running into the same obstacles. But if you choose to look ahead, the past will lose its grip on you. When you can look back and remember without pain, when you can talk about that person without feeling a thing, when you can look forward without fear, that's when you know you've truly let go. And when that happens, you'll realize this isn't the end of the road. It's the beginning of a new version of you. A version that no longer lives in the past. A version that doesn't need to hold on to old stories. A version that, for the first time in a long time, is truly free. What you've learned today. If you've made it this far, you're no longer the person who started listening to this. You've learned something today that many people take years to realize. Attachment is not love. Letting go is not losing. And the void inside you won't be filled by someone else. You've come to understand that it wasn't the person that kept you stuck. It was the story you were telling yourself about them. And now, that story ends. Today, you choose to let go. Today, you stop looking back and start focusing on the one thing that truly matters. You. You don't need anyone else to complete you. You don't need someone else to make you feel worthy. You don't need to hold on to a story that's already over. You have everything you need inside you. You always did. You just needed to realize it. And now that you know it, now that you feel it, now that you understand it, you are free. Take the next step. You are strong-minded. I want you to declare it now. Write it in the comments. Say it out loud. Etch it in your mind. I am free. I belong to myself. Say it. Write it. Repeat it until it becomes your truth. If this video helped you, do what someone with a strong mindset would do. Share it. Like it. It's free, and it helps us keep creating content for you. And if you haven't yet, subscribe to the channel so you can keep learning to let go, grow, and strengthen yourself emotionally. Now, check out the video on the screen. It's going to help you take even more steps forward in your journey. I'm Gabriel, your favorite psychologist and philosopher, and I'll see you in the next video.